Hello everyone, this is Dr. Mihir Shah once again with another video. In this video, we are going to have one final revision of all the practical sum under commodity and derivative market, also known as CND. Again, a very important video for all the TYBMS SEM student appearing commodity and derivative market. So whatever practical problem sums which I expected to be there in the paper, all that problem sum we are going to start the revision. Okay, so chalo. The very first type of sum is based on fair value of futures. So let us see what are the formulas that you need to apply and how you need to solve the sum based on fair value of futures. Okay, now let us see what are the various types of sum which will come based on the topic fair value of futures. Now remember, you are expected 2 questions from this particular topic, so around 15 marks this particular topic carries. Okay, now there are 2 parts in calculating the fair value of future. The part 1 is based on simple interest. The formula is given that fair value of future is equal to spot price into the interest rate for n months. Okay, to make it more simple, the formula is given as spot price into 1 plus r into n, that is the number of months, upon 12. Okay, so there are 2 methods. First one is based on simple interest. So we'll be solving 3 sums which will be based on simple interest. So let us start with the very first one. Number 1. Again, this topic is very important for all the BMS students. Okay, 15 marks are expected to come from this particular topic. Sure. So we will start with the first one. The cost of 10 gram gold in spot market is 30,000 rupees. The locker rent is rupees 300 for 3 months and the insurance is rupees 150. If the prevailing interest rate is 10% per annum, calculate the fair value of 3 months future contract. So now here they have asked us to find the fair value of future, which is equal to, the formula is spot price into 1 plus r into n divided by 12. Now in the sum, the spot price was made up of 10 gram gold, which is rupees 30,000, but along with that you even spent locker rent of 300, so that get added to the spot price, and even insurance of 150 rupees. So if only they would have given us gold, we would have directly taken at 30,000 as a spot, but they have even additionally they have added some expenses that also gets added to your spot price into 1 plus the rate given is 10%, so we will take it as 0.10 into the number of months. Now they have to also to find the future contract for 3 months future, so it will be 3 divided by 12. So 30,000 plus 300 plus 150 together will give you 30,450 into 1 plus, now 3 divided by 12 is 4, so we will take it as 0.110 upon 4. Now 30,450 into, this will give you 1 plus, now 0.10 divided by 4 will give you 0.025. Finally we added up to 30,450 into 1 plus, so that will become 1.025. You multiply them and you will get your final answer as rupees 31,211.25. Okay, so you multiply them, you get your final answer. So a fair value of future for 3 months is 31,212.25. So very simple sum, just have to apply into the formula, get those values, substitute the values and get your final answer. Now this was the first sum based on simple interest. Now we'll take up second and third sum. Okay, here is the second question and the third question. So we are going to start with first the second question. It given that if the cost of 10 gram gold in the spot market is rupees 35,000 and the locker rent is 1,000, for 3 months insurance is 250 and interest is 7% per annum, calculate the fair value for 3 months future contract on gold. Again they are asking us to find the fair value of futures. Okay, formula is again spot price. Since they haven't mentioned us anything about compound, so we assume it is simple interest into 1 plus R into N divided by 12. Now the spot price here again 35,000 was for the gold. We added 1,000 rupees locker rent and we added 250 rupees ka insurance into 1 plus the rate is 7%, so 0.07 into 3 upon 12. So when we added up, we got this as 36,250 into 1 plus, now again 3 divided by 3 and 12, so that will become 4, so it will become 0.07 divided by 4. So 36,250 into, now this would give you 1 plus, now 0.07 when you divide it by 4 you get approximately 0.0175. So last step 36,250 into 1 plus, so that will become 1.0175. So you multiply it, we get your final answer approximately 36,884.375. To make it more stagnant, we will take the value as rounding up at 3,688.4.38. So that's the final answer. So the fair value for future is rupees 36,884.38. Now similar topic but a different variation in the question can also be asked. Now let's see the third example. Max wants to invest in Nifty futures. The spot price is 6,000 with a contract size of 10. He can borrow the funds at 12% per annum. Calculate the fair value of 2 months Nifty future. Again, nothing new, it's the similar way. So first we'll find the fair value of future. Fair value of future. Again, similar formula. So that is spot price into 1 plus R into N divided by 12. So the spot price in this case was 6,000 into 1 plus R. The rate is 12%, so 0.12. Now 2 months future, so it will be 2 divided by 12. So this gives us 6,000 into, now 2 divided by 12 is 1 upon 6 and 0.12 divided by 6 will give you 0.02. So my value will be 1 plus 0.02. So our next step will be 6,000 multiplied by 1.02. You multiply, you get the answer as 6120. Now this is the fair value of future for one contract. Now here they have given us that you want to invest in a contract size of 10. So therefore the effective total will be, now the future value of one contract was 6120. We have to multiply that with the total number of contracts. So in this case it was 10 contracts, so we multiply by 10. So my final answer will be, the final fair value will be 61,200. We were multiplying this with the 10 contracts. So amount will be 61,200 rupees. So these were the 3 sums which were based on calculation of the fair value of future based on simple interest. Okay, now we'll be solving the second method which will be based on compound interest. Again there we'll take up a couple of examples to clear the entire concept of futures, okay, where they ask us to find the fair value. Okay, so now we'll start with the second method, that is calculation based on compound interest. Okay, now this is the second part where we are asked to find the fair value of future based on compound interest. Now the formula is, for fair value of future under compound interest, spot price into interest for n months, which is equal to spot price into 1 plus R divided by 12 raised to the power of n. So now this is the difference between the simple interest and compound interest. Now let us see how we use this in the actual sum. The spot price of gold is 28,000 rupees, locker rent was 500 and insurance was 500. Interest rate on borrowed fund is 12% per annum. Compounded on monthly basis, this is compound base. What will be the fair value of 3 months future contract? Now let us see how we need to solve this. So again, heading will be we are finding the fair value. So it will be fair value of future, which is spot price into 1 plus r divided by 12 raised to the power of n. Now the spot price given here of the gold is rupees 28,000 plus the locker rent of 500 plus the insurance of 500 into 1 plus the rate was 12%, so 0.12 upon 12 raised to the power of n, that is for 3 months, so divide raised to the power of 3. Now 28 plus 5 is 29,000 into, now 0.12 divided by 12 will give you 0.01, so it would be, so the total is 29. Now this will become 0.12 divided by 12, so that is 0.01, so your value would be 1.01 raised to the power of 3. So when you cube it, okay, the answer that you all should have got would have been 29,000 into 1.030301. Now the last step, very simple, just to multiply them. 29,000 into 1.030301, that will be approximately 29,878.729. You round it up and we get the answer as 29,878.73. So our future value under compound interest, okay, is 29,878.73 for the particular sum. So very simple. The only change between the simple and compound interest is the interest part. Okay, the rest everything remains the same. Chalo, now we'll take up another 2 more questions based on compound interest, and with that, this entire chapter based on futures and various types of futures that can come into your exam will be completed. So now we'll take up the second and the third sum. Okay, now the next sum is the spot price of Nifty is 32,750. The cost of financing is 15% per annum compounded on monthly basis. Calculate the fair value for 2 months Nifty future. Okay, so again they are asking us to find the fair value, so we'll note down the fair value of future is equal to spot price into 1 plus r upon 12 raised to the power of n. So in this case, the Nifty spot price was 32,750 into 1 plus the rate is 15%, so 0.15 upon 12 raised to the power of 2. Now 32,750 into 1 plus, now on our calci 0.15 divided by 12 gives us 0.0125 raised to the power of 2. So this will turn up to be 32,750 into 1.0125 raised to the power of or raised to square. Now after squaring this number, okay, we get the value as 32,750 into 1.0252. Lastly, when you multiply, you get your final fair value answer, that is rupees 33,575.30. Okay, again just have to substitute the value into the formula and solve it down. Okay, it's very simple. So this was the second answer of fair value of future. Now we jump to the third question. Now it is said that if cost of 1 kg silver is 50,000 and the locker rent is 3,000 for a month, the interest rate on the borrowed fund is 12% per annum, then which is compounded on monthly basis, so compound interest, what will be the fair value for 1 month contract? So again, fair value of future is spot price into 1 plus R divided by 12 raised to the power of n. So the spot price given here was 50,000 for silver plus 3,000 the locker rent. Rate is 1 plus, the rate was 12%, so 0.12 upon 12, and it is monthly basis, so ratio power of n. So here it will become 53,000 into, now when you divide these two values, you get 1 plus 0.01 raised to the power of 1. When we add it, it will be 53,000 into 1.01 raised to the power of 1, which is again the same value itself. So finally you multiply, you get a final answer as rupees 53,530. That is the future value, okay, the fair value of future for 1 month for the question number 3. Okay, so I hope you all have understood the very first type of sum. Chalo, now let us see what is the next type of sum that you need to cover up. Okay, now the second type of sum is based on hedging future payoff. So let us see what is the formula for hedging future payoff related sums. The formula, then we are going to take a couple of sums to understand the concept. Okay, so let us see the sum and the formula based on hedging future payoff. Okay, now let us see how to solve sums based on hedging where we have to calculate the future payoff. Now in order to solve the sum, we'll first go through the steps. Okay, the steps are as follows. Okay, first step, we need to note down the contract price. Now the contract price can be anything. It can be either buying price or selling price depending on the question. Second is settlement price. Again, it can be the opposite of buying and selling. Okay, so if my contract price is based on buying, my settlement will be selling. If my contract price is based on selling, so my settlement price will be based on buying. Okay, so if I buy, I have to sell in future. If I sell, I'll have to buy in future. Okay, so that's contract price and settlement price. Third is profit and loss is equal to selling price minus buying price. And lastly, the total profit and loss will be nothing but your profit or loss that we have got from step number 3 into the contract size. Okay, so 4 steps we need to follow very carefully. Okay, now based on the step, we will start with the very first problem sum. We'll read out the question first. It's given that Jay takes a position in future market by selling Reliance future at rupees 720 at an expiring rate at the final settlement price was 800. Calculate the profit or loss made if the contract size was 100 and also draw the payoff diagram. Okay, now in order to solve that, we'll go as per our steps. Number 1, we will have to note down the contract price. So now contract price, now check whether you are buying or selling. So it's given here, he takes a position, okay, in future market by selling. So my contract price will be made out of selling. So I'm selling right now. So contract price is nothing but my selling price. Okay, and thereafter it is given that, so if I sell right now, in future my settlement price will be based on buying. So step number 2, the settlement price. Okay, so I'll note down here that the contract price is rupees 720. Settlement will be based on buying. So my buying price will be rupees 800. Step number 3, I need to find whether I've earned a profit or a loss. So profit or loss is equal to selling price minus your buying price. So my selling price was the contract price in this sum. So it is 720 minus 800. So 720 minus 800 will give you negative 80. So thereby we have incurred a loss of rupees 80. So if I have this is a loss on one contract. Okay, so now we need to find lastly the total loss. So the total loss will be loss per contract into the number of contracts. So here is given the contract size. So they have taken only one contract, but that one contract size is of 100 units. So it will be 80 into 100, which will be nothing but rupees 8,000. So our total loss in this particular sum was rupees 8,000. Now the same thing we need to draw it out by making a payoff diagram. So see, very simple. We'll first note down the y-axis and x-axis. Okay, now remember, on your y-axis the above part will consist of profit, the bottom is made up of loss. Okay, we'll start with 0. Now since the loss is of 80 per, okay, we have to go with the per unit. So what I'll take here is, we'll take 40 ka gap. So it will be, you have 40, you have 80, again you'll have negative 40, negative 80. Okay, now see, very simple, how to draw the payoff diagram for future payoff. Okay, the sum based on future payoff. Whatever is your contract price, mark it out. So let's say this is my 720 ka contract price. After that, check your settlement price. Now it is more than 720, so I'll just mark it out somewhere here, 800. Now on the date of settlement we had a loss of 80. So at the date of settlement we had a loss of 80, so I'm marking it out. The dot where I have marked out the loss which has been marked on the settlement date, from that point we'll have to draw the curve passing to the contract price. So here is our payoff diagram done. This is my payoff diagram, and this was based on Reliance Future. So this is my Reliance Future. So this is how we have to draw the payoff diagram. Very simple. Okay, now this was the first sum. Now we'll jump to the second sum. Okay, where we'll be learning now what if there is buy and sell in the same sum. Okay, so now let us see second sum. I hope everyone has understood the very first sum. Okay, now we're going to start with the very second sum. Okay, now here we jump to the next sum, the second sum. An investor takes position in future market through the following transactions. Number 1, so there are two parts here, A and B. So let us first solve the first part, that is part A. So we are going to do first the part A. Now the part A reads out that the investor buys 6 contracts of Tata at rupees 2000 with a lot size of 200 units, which expires at a final settlement price of 2150. Calculate the profit or loss and also draw the payoff diagram. Okay, so we will follow our steps. Number 1, contract price. Now in this sum the contract price is based on buy, so we are going to basically buy. So we will note down here, this is nothing but my buying price. So we are buying it at rupees 2000. So if my contract is based on buying, my settlement price will be based on selling price. So here my expiry date ka settlement rate price given is rupees 2150. Step number 3, I'll have to find the profit or loss. That is nothing but selling price minus your buying price. So our selling price here is 2150, that was the settlement rate, less your buying, so buying was 2000, So hereby we have made a profit of 150 rupees. So I'll note down here, this is my profit. So now this is the profit per contract, okay, for one unit. Okay, so now here it is given that that investor buys 6 contracts, and in each contract consists of a lot size of 200 units. Now this is a profit on 1 unit, so we now need to find the total profit. So the total profit will be profit per lot, not even per lot, per unit into the lot size. Now here the lot size was 200 units, and in that way you have purchased, or you have bought 6 contracts. So 150 was the profit, 200 is the lot size per contract, and there are 6 similar contracts. So the total profit will be 150 into 200, which comes to 30,000, and then 30,000 into 6 will give you rupees 1,80,000. So that's the total profit which was earned by the investor by buying 6 contracts at 2,000, and on the settlement date selling it for 2,150, having a lot size of 200. Now again the same thing, we need to draw the payoff diagram. Very simple. Again, we'll first note down the y-axis and the x-axis. Remember, the top part will be related to profit, the bottom is related to loss. Okay, the profit is 150, so what we'll do, we'll note on 150 on top. Similarly, we'll take a loss of 150 bottom. Okay, the contract price was 2,000, and my settlement was more than 2,000, so I'll write it here, 2,150. Now on the settlement date we had a profit, so we'll mark the profit. Now the rule is, wherever you have marked it on the settlement, from that point draw a curve passing through the contract price. That will be our payoff diagram. Okay, so this is the payoff diagram. Okay, very simple. Now that was the part A of the sum. Now let's see the part B of the sum. Again, point number 1, we'll just note down the contract price. Okay, now we read out what is it all about. You sell 5 contracts of HDFC Bank at 575 rupees with a lot size of 100, which expires at rupees 565. Okay, so now you're selling. So I will start with selling price. So my selling price was rupees 575. So if I'm selling start May, on my settlement date I'll have to purchase or I'll have to buy. So my settlement price will be based on the buying price, which is rupees 565. So third, I'll have to check whether I've earned a profit or loss. So profit or loss is equal to selling price minus buying price. So my selling price is, in this case it was 575, and my buying price will be 565. So hereby again I'm making a profit. I'm making a profit of rupees 10. Now that is per one unit. So now we have to find the total profit. So the total profit is nothing but profit per unit into the number of units in a lot. So it's given a lot size of 100, and check how many contracts were there. There were 5 contracts. So 10 into 100 is 1000. 1000 into 5 will give you a profit of rupees 5000 in total. Okay, again a very simple sum. You just have to follow the steps and apply the formula. That's it. Now again we'll have to draw the payoff diagram. Again, in the simplest way, we draw the x and y axis. The top part is called as the profit. The bottom will represent loss. Okay, here the profit is 10, so I'll just note down on top 10 and bottom by negative 10. The contract price was 575, and my settlement was 565, so that is lower to that, so it will come on the left side 565. On the settlement date I had a profit of rupees 10. So wherever I got the profit, from that very position we'll draw a curve passing to the contract price. This is nothing but a payoff diagram. Okay, this is of HDFC Bank, so I'll write a HDFC, and the previous one was based on Tata, so I'll note down here as Tata. Okay, so this was the second sum where we had a buy and a sell contract, and how you have to solve that sum. Okay, the procedure is same, you just have to follow the same steps. Okay, so with this our second sum gets completed. Now there's one more sum that we will be covering up under the same topic. Okay, so now we'll start with the third sum. Okay, now this is our question number 3. I'll read out the question once. It is given that Raju believes that the stock price of Reliance will go down. He sells 10 future contracts expiring after 3 months. The lot size of each contract is 400 shares. The short position is taken at a future price of rupees 270 per share. Find out the possible gain or loss on the position if after 3 months the spot rate moves to 260 or 280. So again, two conditions are given. First, so we'll solve the first A part. Again, steps remain the same. We'll start with first contract price. Now again, we need to figure out whether it is a buying or a selling. Now I'm going to say it's given that Raju sells. So we write here this is nothing but my selling price. So we are selling it at 270 rupees. So if my contract is based on selling, my settlement will be based on buying price, which is rupees. Now in our first condition the amount is 260, so we'll write down our buying price is 260. Step number 3 is nothing but our profit or loss. So profit or loss is equal to selling price minus buying price. Selling was now here at 270, but my buying was 260. So hereby again we are making a profit of rupees 10. Okay, now that is per share. So we need to find the total profit. So total profit is profit per share into the number of shares per contract. Okay, so here is given the lot size of each contract is 400 shares into the number of contracts that you have taken. So here is given he sells 10 future contracts. So into 10. So 10 into 400 was 4,000, and 4,000 into 10 is rupees 40,000. So our total profit is rupees 40,000. Again, same sum, same way you need to solve, very simple. Okay, chalo, we'll put that in our diagram. So again we will make our x and y axis. Okay, the top part is nothing but our profit. The bottom will be our losses. Okay, there was a profit of 10, so we note down 10 and just negative 10. Contract price is based on 270 rupees and my settlement is 260, so it is less than 270. On my settlement we made a profit of 10, so we marked it. From that point we will be drawing a curve passing through the contract price, and that will be our payoff diagram. This is Reliance ka future, so Reliance. Okay, and this is my payoff diagram. Okay, very simple. Now chalo, the same thing we will replicate for part B. Again, number 1, contract price. Now the contract price here again it is same. It is based on selling price because here he has sold for rupees 270. So on settlement date we will have to buy So it will be based on buying price. So my buying price is rupees 280. So third point, profit or loss is equal to selling price minus buying price. Selling was 270, buying is 280. So here we are making a loss. Here we are making a loss of rupees 10. Now that is per share. So now we'll have to find the total loss. So the total loss is loss per share into the total number of shares into the total contract or the number of contracts. So here we have 10 into 400, which is 4000 into 10. So in this case we are having a loss, a total loss of rupees 40,000. Okay, same. Okay, no changes. You just have to follow the steps. Now chalo, last step we will be making the payoff diagram. So here we have our x and y axis. The top part is our profit. The bottom will be our loss. Now here we are making a loss of 10. Okay, so profit of 10 and loss of 10. Okay, now my contract price was 270, but my settlement was 280. On my settlement date we made a loss of 10, so I'm marking that point. From that point we will be drawing a curve passing to the contract price, and that is nothing but a payoff diagram. Okay, so these were the second type of sum that you need to cover up. I hope everyone have understood it. Chalo, now let us jump to the next type, number 3. Type 3 is based on call option buyer's payoff problem sum. Okay, so let us see how to solve sum based on call option buyer's payoff along with the diagrams. Okay, so under call option we are going to solve sum based on buyers or also known as holders payoff. So let us first note down the rules which will be required in order to solve the sum. Okay, so here is the format and some important point that need to be noted down. So the heading will be call option buyers or holders payoff. We'll have 5 columns consisting of exercise price, spot price, intrinsic value, call premium received, and finally the profit and loss. Now few points that need to be noted down. Number 1, intrinsic value. The intrinsic value up to the strike or exercise price will be 0 when we are doing call option sum based on buyers or holders payoff. Thereafter the intrinsic value will be positive difference between the exercise price and the spot price. Exercise price and spot price are the two prices which will be given in the question. Then thereafter we have to find the intrinsic value. The call premium will also be given in the question, and we need to find the profit and loss. Premium, since the sum is based on buyer's payoff, so since we are going to buy a call, the premium will always be negative. And lastly, the profit and loss is nothing but the difference between the intrinsic value and the premium. So based on those 3 points, we will see now how to solve a sum based on call option where we have been given buyer's payoff. So let us see how to solve the sum both graphically as well as tabulated. Okay, now let us check the first example as to how to calculate the profit or loss based on option positioning when there is a call option and it is based on the buyer's payoff. So I'll read the question once. It is said that Rajesh buys a call option of ABC Limited at an exercise price of rupees 100 with a premium of rupees 3. Calculate the profit or loss on the option position for Rajesh if the spot price on expiry is as follows. Now they are giving you the spot price on the expiry. So that's 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104 and 105. And thereafter they also said that draw the payoff diagram for the same.
So now let us see how we need to solve the sum based on call option when there is a buy option given to us. So first of all, we'll just note down the heading. We'll have to first create a table, but before the table, we'll note down the heading of the table. So it will be called as, the sum is based on call option. So we'll note down call option when, now there is a buy call in this. So we'll write here buyers or holders payoff. Okay, now remember we'll have to create a table which will have basically 5 columns. So the first column, the heading will be exercise price, and we'll give an abbreviation for it as X. The second column will be spot price. We'll abbreviate it with S. The third column will be intrinsic value. We write it as IV. The fourth will be call premium received. We'll abbreviate it with C. And last column will be our profit or loss. Now, as per the question, the exercise price given is rupees 100 and the spot price are given to us in different range. So 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So basically we have been given 10 spot price. So we'll have to first note down the exercise price. So at exercise price 100, the very first spot price given is 96. For the second one it is 97 and so on. So we'll first complete this table. So there are 10 spot price, so we'll note down the exercise price for the 10 of them and we'll note down the spot price accordingly. The exercise price will be the same for all the cases. We have 102, 103, 104 and last one will be 105. Okay, so the first two columns basically we just noted down from the question whatever data has been given to us. Now comes the most important part, the intrinsic value. Remember, when we are solving sum based on call option, and in that whenever we have a buy call, always remember the intrinsic value up to up to the spot price when it matches the exercise price, the intrinsic value will always be 0. So price when the position when your exercise price is equal to spot price up to that level, okay, the intrinsic value will all be 0. Reason, when we are having a call option and if we are taking a call at the exercise at 100, so any amount below that will not fetch you any intrinsic value, it will only be above that. Okay, so after the point when the exercise and spot are matching, thereafter the intrinsic value will be the positive difference between the exercise price and spot price. So the intrinsic value for this particular case will be 100 and 101. So the difference is 1. For the next, the difference will be 2, 3 rupees, 4 rupees and 5 rupees. Next comes this call premium received. Since it's a buy call, your premium will be negative since we are going to pay for it. So for all the cases, okay, the premium will be -3. So we note down the values as -3 for all the cases. Now the last thing that we need to find is the profit and loss, because that's the thing that they've asked us to find. Now remember, the profit and loss will be calculated as, basically it will be nothing but intrinsic value and the difference between the call premium. So 0 minus 3 gives you -3. 0 minus 3 again will give you -3. 0 minus 3 is -3. So this is basically your loss. Okay, since it's a call option and you're taking an exercise price of 100, so any amount which is less than 100 will give you the loss of the amount that you have used as a premium. So 0 minus 3 is again -3. 0 minus 3 again -3. After this particular point where your spot price is now going to be more than your exercise price, So here now there will be a difference in the profit and loss. So 1 minus negative 3 is negative 2, 2 minus negative 3 is negative 1, 3 minus 3 is 0, 4 minus 3 is positive 1. So here you are getting actually profit, and 5 minus 3 is positive 2. So this is the payoff table of option position when they have been given you a call option where you have a person buying the call. Okay, very simple. You note down the exercise price, you note down the spot price, the difference, okay, of your exercise and spot is the intrinsic value, but always remember whatever exercise price you have taken it as, okay, amount, below that will always be 0, and only after that it will be a positive difference. Call premium will be negative since there is a buy option. Whenever you buy, you're going to pay for it, so the premium is going to be negative. The difference between the intrinsic and call premium is nothing but your profit and loss. So this is how we prepare the table or the payoff table of call option. Now same thing, let us see how we can pose this thing in a diagrammatical form, because they have also told us to draw the payoff diagram for the same. So there is a small sketch which has been made up. So this is my y-axis, this is our x-axis. Okay, we will start off with 0. Okay, the top and bottom, the y-axis will include your intrinsic value and profit and loss. Okay, so since the numbers are in 1, 2s and 3, so positive 1, positive 2, positive 3, positive 4, positive 5, positive 6. Bottom may will have negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. Now x-axis contains your spot prices. So our spot price was 96, starting from 96. So 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104 and 105. Okay, now let us start marking the point which have been given to us. So now first we'll mark down all your intrinsic value, and thereafter we will mark down our profit and loss values. Okay, so at a price of 96, the intrinsic value was 0. So at 96 it was 0. At 97 also it was 0. At 98 0, 99 0. At 100 also 0. Now after that there has been a change. Okay, at a price of 101, your intrinsic value has become 1. So now 1 comes here, so we'll mark down that point. So this is my point where it is profit of 1. The intrinsic value as well, not profit, sorry. At 102 spot price, my intrinsic value was 2, so I marked down at 102 my second point where I'm getting my intrinsic value as 2. At 103 it is going to be 3. At 104 is going to be 4. And at 105 is going to be 5. So I'll just mark it. You can take the help of a ruler in this case also, okay? So that's basically my intrinsic value. So now if I try to join it, now since they were all 0, so I don't have to mark it here. So from here we have to basically mark all the points. So we're going to mark it down. And then there's a bit of hinge here, so we just mark down. So that's my intrinsic value. So I'll note it on my key that the straight line is nothing but my intrinsic value. Now similarly we'll have to make for profit and loss. So now look at this. When your spot price was 96, okay, the profit was negative. Basically there was a loss of negative 3. So I'm marking it down as this is my negative 3. At 97 also it was negative 3. At 98 negative 3. At 99 again there was a negative 3. At 100 again there is a negative 3. Now from 101 there has been a upward shift, that's negative 2. At 102 the loss is negative 1. Now at 103 there is no loss, no profit, so it is at an equilibrium price. At 104, you are actually earning the first profit. And at 105, you are earning the profit of rupees 2. Now we'll just join these points. So when you basically join it, okay, you will see that there is parallel line between the intrinsic value and the profit and loss. So this is how we have to solve the sum, which is based on call option, where you have buyers or holders payoff. So this is the tabular representation of the answer, and this is your diagrammatical representation of the answer. Okay, I hope everyone have understood. This is the very first sum, which is based on call option, where you have buyers payoff.
Okay, now to understand the call option, buyers, holders payoff, we'll take another second example. I'll just read out the question once. It's given that Max buys a call option of ABC Limited at an exercise price of 500 with a premium of rupees 30. Calculate the profit or loss on the option position for Max if the spot price of ABC on expiry is as follows. Then they are giving you different spot prices: 460, 70, 80, 90, 500, 510, 20, 30, 40 and 50. So basically there are 10 spot prices which have been given to us, and thereafter they have told us draw the payoff diagram for the same. So now let us see how to solve this sum using first the tabular method. Now under the tabular method, we have created a table having 5 columns. The very first column has exercise price, which is 500 as per the sum. Now since there are 10 spot prices, so I'll note down rupees 500 at all the 10 places. So we have 500 first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7, 8, 9 and 10. The spot prices are given to us, so it's ranging from 460, next is 470, 480, 490, 500, 510, 520, 530, 540 and last one is 550. The next column that we need to find is the intrinsic value. Now since it's a buyer's payoff table, remember the intrinsic value up to the point where exercise price and spot price are equal, the intrinsic value will be 0. Thereafter there will be positive difference between the exercise price and the spot price. So 500 and 510, so the intrinsic value is 10. Next it will become 20, then the difference is 30, 40 and 50. Since there is a buy call, okay, so the premium value in this case will be negative and the value is 30. So for all the cases, the premium value will be negative 30. So we are noting down all the values as negative 30. The last part is where we need to find the profit or loss. So now profit and loss is nothing but the difference of intrinsic value and call. So 0 minus 30 will give you negative 30. Again 0 minus 30 is negative 30, negative 30, negative 30, negative 30. Thereafter it is 10 minus 30, so negative 20, negative 10. We have a 0, that's the equilibrium. Then 40 minus 30 is positive 10, and lastly we have positive 20. So our profit and loss is in the form of negative 30 all up to a point where spot and exercise are same. Okay, thereafter we have, the profit and loss changes, so it becomes negative 20, 10, 0, 10 and 20. So this is how we have to create the call option buyer's payoff table. Now let us see the same thing, how we put it into the graphical format. Now your y-axis will have all our intrinsic value and the profit and loss. So the intrinsic their y-axis and x-axis intersection point will be your 0 rate. Now thereafter there is going to be a difference of 10. So we can see there is a 10 difference everywhere. So I'll note down as 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and 60. Same way we'll have negative 10, negative 20, negative 30, negative 40 and negative 50. Now for your x-axis, where we note down all our spot rate, my very first spot price is 460. Then we have 470, 480, 490, 500, 510, 520, 530, 540, 550, and lastly 560. Now let us see how to mark the intrinsic value and the profit and loss on our graph. Now at the spot price 460, 70, 480, 490 and 500, the spot rate for each of the cases, or the intrinsic value for each of the cases, were 0. So I'll just mark down those points. So we have, all those values up to 500, 0. Thereafter at 510, the intrinsic value became 10. So I'll mark down that as 10. At 520 it became 20. So I'll take that. At 530 it became 30. Thereafter 540 it became 40. And at 550 it became 50. Okay, so we will join this. So I'll note down this as my intrinsic value. So it starts off with a straight, it's a flat line, and thereafter there is an increase. So that's my IV. Now similarly we'll start marking and finding out the values, the graphical point of profit and loss. So when your spot price was 460, 70, 80, 90 and 500, the profit and loss was negative 30 each. So at 460 it was negative 30, at 470 negative 30, 480 negative 30, 490 negative 30 and 500 a negative 30. Now at 510 your profit became negative 20. So we'll mark that as 510 at negative 20. Then it became negative 10 at 520. So we will take that as 520. At 530 it became 0. So we mark that as 0. At 540 a positive 10. So I'll take that as a positive 10. At 550, the last one, we got it as a positive 20. So we'll take that as 520. I'll mark that as 20. And now, so here again, for the start till the till the point where your spot and exercise are equal, it is a flat line. Thereafter there's going to be an increase. Okay, so the first thing was my intrinsic value, and the second, the second curve is nothing but my profit and loss curve. So this is how we have to solve the sum based on call option when they have given us buyer's payoff. So this was the tabular way, and this is the graphical representation of the same. Okay, so I hope you all have all understood how to solve sum based on call option whenever there is a buyer's payoff. Okay, now let us go ahead with the next type. Okay, now the next type number 4, is call option sum based on seller's payoff. The one what we did previously was buyer's payoff, now seller's payoff under call option. So let us see how to solve this particular sum.
Okay, so the sum that we are going to start will be based on call option, and under call option we are going to solve sum which is based on seller's profit or writer's payoff. Now the format and important points to be noted. Number one, first the format. Okay, there will be 5 columns. We have the exercise price, spot price, intrinsic value, call premium received, and profit and loss. Now, since it is a short position or a short call, so it is a sum which is based on selling. The intrinsic value. Now, how to find the intrinsic value is given here, that the intrinsic value up to the point where the strike and the exercise price are equal, it will be 0. Thereafter, the intrinsic value will be negative difference between the exercise price and the spot price. Second, premium. Since we are selling a call option, the premium will always be positive. And lastly, the profit and loss, it will be nothing but the difference between the intrinsic value and the premium.
So these are the three simple rules that need to be kept in mind while solving the sum. Now let us start. We'll take up two examples in order to understand how to solve sum based on call option seller's payoff. So let us start with the very first example.
Okay, now let us take up the first example to understand call option when we have a seller's payoff. So we'll read the question once. Mr. Raj takes a short position on a call option of ABC Limited at an exercise price of rupees 100 with a premium of rupees 3. Calculate the profit or loss on the option position of Mr. Raj if the spot expiry is as follows. They are given us various spot prices. 60 it starts from 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 105. Also draw the payoff diagram for the same. So now in order to solve such sum tabular as well as graphically, okay, here are the steps that we'll be following. First we'll note on the heading, it is based on call option seller's payoff. Okay, now the table will again consist of 5 columns having the headings as exercise price, we'll call it as X, spot price, we'll name it as S, intrinsic value, we'll call it as IV. Then we'll have call premium received, we'll call it as C, and lastly our profit and loss. Okay, now as per the question, okay, they have already given us that the exercise price is going to be at 100. Okay, so for all the options of spot price, the exercise price is 100. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They are given us 10 options, so we'll post the exercise price for 10 options as 100. So that's the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and 10th. Now the spot price given are 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104 and 105. Okay, now under call option, the intrinsic value up to the point where your exercise price and your spot price is same, the intrinsic value will remain 0. So up to the point when exercise and spot are equal, the intrinsic value for all will remain 0. Thereafter, whenever there is a seller's payoff, thereafter, okay, there will be the negative difference between exercise and spot price. So there is a difference of 1. So we'll note it as -1, -2, -3, -4 and -5. Okay, that's the difference between buyer's payoff and seller. Under buyer's payoff, it was positive difference. However, in seller's payoff, it will be negative difference. Now, call premium. In the question, it is given that it is exercise price is 100 with a premium of rupees 3. The moment we take a short position, we are selling. The moment we sell, we will receive the premium. So it will be positively written as positive 3 under each and every case. So we have 10 options, so under every option we'll write the premium received will be 3. That also positive 3. Under call option where we have buyer's payoff, it becomes negative since we are buying, so we'll have to pay the premium. But under seller's payoff, we are receiving, so these are the amount that we will be receiving, so it will remain as positive. So now the last, to find profit and loss, it is nothing but the difference between the intrinsic value and premium received. Intrinsic was 0, you are receiving 3, so you have a profit of rupees 3. Again we'll have a profit of rupees 3. Intrinsic is 0, premium is 3, we are receiving 3, that's a profit. Again profit, again profit. Okay, now from the point where your exercise and spot is not equal, okay, now we'll have a little difference. -1 is the intrinsic value, call premium received is rupees 3, so the difference is
2. So our profit is only 2 now. Negative 2 and 3, the difference will be positive 1. So we have a profit of 1. Negative 3 and 0, the difference is 0. Negative 4 is the intrinsic value. We are receiving only 3. So there is a loss of rupees 1. Similarly, we have the intrinsic value of negative 5. We are receiving 3. So we have a loss of rupees 2. Now this is how we have to solve the tabular way of seller's payoff. Now same thing, let us try posting it on the graphical way, and let's see how the graph will look when we have a seller's payoff. So first thing, on the y-axis we'll note down, this consists of your intrinsic value and your profit and loss. Okay, we'll have starting with 0. We have now since the profit and loss are in the range of 1, 2 and 3, so we'll have positive 1, positive 2, positive 3, positive 4, positive 5, positive 6. Bottom part, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. Okay, now for posting on the x-axis, we need to write all our spot prices. So we're starting from 96, so we'll note down 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105. So we are last is 105, that's a spot. Now let us start marking the plot or plotting of all the points of intrinsic value and the profit and loss. So when the spot price was 96, the intrinsic value was 0. 97 pay also it was 0. 98 0, 99 0, 100 0. At 101, the intrinsic value became negative 1. So we'll mark it here at negative 1. Then we had at 102 negative 2. At 3 we had negative 3. At 4 we had negative 4. And at 5 we had negative 5. Similar, okay, so we will just join those points. So the moment I join it, we get a downward sloping curve. Okay, now similarly we will start plotting the profit and loss. So when the spot price was 96, the profit that we received was rupees 3. So we mark it. At 97 also it was 3, 98 3, 99 3, and 100 3. Now at 101 the profit reduced to rupees 2. At 102 it became 1. At 103 it became 0. At 104 it went to the negative quadrant as negative 1. And at 105 it became negative 2. So again this is also similar to a downward sloping. So we'll just join it with the help of a ruler. Okay, so we can show it here that this is nothing but your intrinsic value and this was your profit and loss curve. Okay, so this is basically how we have to solve the sum. Okay, when we have call option seller's payoff given and they ask us to solve it in both the ways, tabular method as well as graphical method. So this is one of the two examples that we have solved. Okay, now we'll see and we'll take up another example to understand the same concept of seller's payoff under call option. Okay, now here is the second example to understand call option seller's payoff problem sum. We'll read the question once. Jay takes a short position on a call option of XYZ Limited at an exercise price of rupees 790 with a premium of rupees 50. Calculate the profit or loss on the option position for Jay if the spot price on expiry is as follows. Then they are given us various spot price ranging from 750 to 830. They have also said also draw the payoff diagram for the same. Now let us see how to solve this sum, both tabular way as well as graphical way. Okay, so first thing we'll note down the heading. It will be call option, seller's payoff. Okay, first column will have the heading exercise price. Second will be spot price. Then we have the intrinsic value. Then we'll have call premium received. And lastly our profit and loss. Again, the exercise price given in the question is 790. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 options. So we write 790 under exercise price for 9 options. So that's the first one, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, 8th and 9. Okay, now the spot price which are given to us range from 750, 760, 770, 780, 790, 800, 810, 820 and 830. Okay, now in order to get the intrinsic value, as we discussed earlier, under call option, the point where exercise price and spot price are equal, the intrinsic value will remain 0. Thereafter, under seller's payoff, there will be a negative difference between the exercise price and spot price. So 790 and 800, so there's a negative difference of 10. Negative difference of 20, negative difference of 30 and negative difference of 40. Now the call premium received, since we are selling, the premium will be received. It is given as rupees 50, so we write 50 in under all cases. It will remain positive since we are going to sell it off. Now the profit and loss, okay, is nothing but the difference between the intrinsic value and the call premium received. When the value is 0, we are receiving 50, so there's a profit of 50. Okay, so it will be 50 up to the point where your spot and exercise is same. Thereafter, negative 10 and 50, the difference is positive 40. Negative 20, 50 is positive 30. Then we have negative 30 and 50, so positive 20. Negative 40 and 50 is the positive 10. Okay. So now if you look at the previous sum and this sum, none of them have gone into losses, but the profit has gradually fallen down. Okay. So it started off with 50 rupees profit and fallen down to 10 rupees, but it's not gone to the negative quadrant. Okay. So now let us try to plot this graphically. Okay. Again, we'll have 0 on the origin. Now since the profits are in the gap of 10, so we'll do that as 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and 60. Similarly, we'll have negative 10, negative 20, negative 30, negative 40, negative 50. Okay, this is nothing but our intrinsic value and profit and loss values. Okay, now spot prices are given as 750 onwards, so we write 750, 760, 770, 780, 790, 800, 810, 820, 830, 840. Okay. Now let us start plotting them one by one. We need to plot the intrinsic value as well as the profit. First we'll plot the intrinsic value. When the spot was 750, your intrinsic was 0. At 760 it was 0. 770 0, 780 0 and 790 0. Thereafter, at 800 it became negative 10. Thereafter it became negative 20, negative 30, negative 40 and lastly negative 50. Okay, you join it, we'll come to know that there is a downward sloping curve for the intrinsic value. Okay, and we'll note it down as this is the IV curve. Now let us start plotting the profit and loss. At the spot price of 750, the profit was 50. At 760 it was 50, 770 it was 50, 780 it was 50, 790 it was 50. Thereafter it started falling, it became 40, then it became 30, it became 20, it became 10. Okay, but it never went into the negative quadrant. So it doesn't matter. So we'll just join it apart. And the moment you join it, we will be having our profit and loss curve. Okay, so this is how we need to solve the sum which is based on call option, where we have the seller's payoff.
Okay, the next type of sum, that is type 5, is put options buyer's payoff. So chalo, let us see how to solve the sum.
Okay, now let us see the first sum, how to solve based on put option when we have a buyer's payoff. So we'll read the question once. It's given that Max buys a put option. So he have bought here a put option of Reliance Limited at an exercise price of rupees 100 with a premium of rupees 3. Calculate the profit or loss on the option position for Max if the spot price on expiry is as follows, and then they are given us various expiry prices. Also draw the payoff diagram for the same. So now let us see how we start. First the tabular way and then the graphical way. So we'll give the heading as put option, where this is based on buyer's payoff. Okay, now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different spot prices. Now for all the different spot prices, the exercise price will remain the same. So we will in 10 places we will write the same exercise price. So that's first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth and 10th. Now we note down all the spot prices from 96 to 105. So 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104 and 105. Now always remember, under put option, put is something where you are expecting that the price of the share will be falling. So if it falls, you are in a profit position. Okay, now always remember the intrinsic value under put option, whether it is a buyer's payoff or a seller's payoff, the rule is, under put option, the price or the intrinsic value up to the point where your exercise and spot price are same. Okay, before that, when there's a buyer's payoff, before that there will always be a positive difference. So 196, the difference is 4. Then we have a positive difference of 3, 2, 1 and 0. After that, once you get the value as 0, after that whatever value will be given, whatever values are available, all the values or all the intrinsic values will be 0. So we have 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Now this is a sum where we are buying. So the moment you buy, the premium, the premium will be paid. Since you're going to pay for it, the premium will be negative. So it is 3. So we'll have premium of -3 in all our cases since we are buying it. So we'll note down -3 in all the columns. Okay, now lastly, the profit or loss. Profit or loss is nothing but the difference between the intrinsic value and the call premium you receive. When the value is 4, you are still paying it 3, so there is a profit of 1 rupee. When the intrinsic value is 3 and call premium is also 3, your profit is 0. 2 -3 is -1. 2 1 minus 3 is -2. And thereafter 0 minus 3, see, you can see all the values are same, 0 minus 3. So for all you will be having a loss of -3. So this is how you have to solve the sum when we have been given put option buyer's payoff.
Okay, very simple. And now we'll use the same data. We'll use the data and present it in a graphical way. So y-axis is nothing but our intrinsic value and the profit and loss. We will start off with 0, positive. Since the profits are in the range of 1 to 3, so we'll take the gap of 1 for each of them. Similarly, we'll have losses, so -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. On x-axis, we always note down our spot prices. So it's starting from 96, we have 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104 and 105. Now let us see how we are going to plot. Now we need to plot here the intrinsic value and the profit and loss. So we'll start off with the intrinsic value. When the spot price was 96, the intrinsic value was 4. At 97 it became 3. At 98 it became 2. At 99 it became 1. Then it became 0. And thereafter it was flat line, it was flat 0. So for 101, 102, 103, 104 and 105, the values were 0. Now in the similar case, now let us start plotting the profit and loss. At spot price 96, the profit was rupees 1. So we'll note it at 96, my profit was 1 rupee. Then it became 0. Then we started going in negative quadrant, so -1. Then we had a loss of -2, -3. Then we had -4. But now see, after -3, we had again a straight line with all the values being -3. So at 101, it was -3. 102, -3, 103, -3, 104, -3 and 105 also it was -3. So once you join the line, you will be getting, again we'll have a downward slope and thereafter it gets flattened up. So we again had a downward slope and thereafter it got flattened. This is how your payoff table will look when we are solving sum based on put option, where we have the buyer's payoff. So this was a IV curve and this was our profit and loss. So this was the first sum based on put option where we had buyer's payoff. Okay, now we'll take up another sum to understand the same topic based on the put option buyer's payoff. Okay, now this is the second sum. We'll read the question once. Riddhi buys a put option. Again, we are buying a put option of ABC Limited. She pays an option premium of rupees 20. So option premium is 20 rupees. The exercise price being rupees 500. Calculate the profit and loss if the spot price on the maturity are as follows. And they are giving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spot prices on the expiry date. Also draw the payoff diagram for the same. Again, our table remains the same. We have the exercise price, spot price, intrinsic value, call premium and profit and loss. Under exercise price, we have noted down the values, that is 500, and under spot price we have taken various spot prices which were given to us. Now the rule is the point up to where the exercise and intrinsic value or the spot price are same. Okay, the price, the position where the exercise price and the spot price are equal, the intrinsic value will be 0. Before that, all the values will be a positive difference. So 500 and 570, 470. So the difference is positive 30. 500 and 480, that positive difference is 20. 500 and 490, the difference is 10. Okay. After the point where the exercise and spot price are equal, the intrinsic value will become 0. Because under spot price or under put option, okay, if it falls
only then you are going to get, if your spot price falls or goes below the excess price, only then you are going to make some profit, otherwise no. Call premium. Now you are buying, since you are buying, the premium will always be negative since it is 20. So in all our cases we'll note it down as negative 20. Okay, now the profit and loss, nothing but the difference between the intrinsic value and the call premium. So 30 negative 20 is 10, 20 20 is 0, 20 negative 10, negative 20 and 10 is negative 10, 0 negative 20 is negative 20, and after that all the values will be given as negative 20. Okay, so this is how we had to solve the put option bias payoff in tabular way. Now the same thing we'll post it on our graphical way. So we have here our intrinsic value on the y-axis and the profit and loss. Now since the profit ka gap is in 10, so we'll notate all the 10 values. So we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and similarly bottom 10, negative 20, negative 30, negative 40. The spot values are given as on the x-axis as 470, 480, 490, 500, 510, 520, 530. Now let us start plotting first the intrinsic value. When the spot price was 470, the intrinsic value was 30. When it was 480, the intrinsic value became 20. 490, it was 10. At 500 it became 0, and since then till the last it will remain 0. Similarly, profit and loss at 470, the profit was 10, then it became 0, then it became negative 10, negative 20 at 500, and since then it would be a straight flat line at negative 20. And the same thing, now we just have to join it, and we will get our IV curve and a profit and loss curve. So it will again be a downward sloping, and thereafter it becomes flattened. So this is a IV curve and this will be a profit and loss curve. So again, this is a 7 to 8 mark sum. Based on the question, it will be either answer 7 or 8. Okay, so again, a very simple way how to solve the sum based on put option buyers payoff.
Okay, now the next type of sum and the last type basically is put option sellers payoff. So let us see how to solve this particular sum.
Okay, now let us see the sum based on put option sellers payoff. Let us see how we need to solve it both tabular way and as well as graphical way. First we'll read the question once. Now it is given that Sohail writes a put. Okay, the word writes means you're going to sell off. Okay, so Sohail writes a put option of Max Limited at an exercise price of rupees 100 with a premium of rupees 3. Calculate the profit or loss on the option position for Sohail if the spot price on expiry is as follows. And thereafter we have been given 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 different spot prices. Also draw the payoff diagram. Okay, so now let us first start with the tabular way. We'll give the heading as put option sellers payoff. The headings will be exercise price, spot price, intrinsic value, call premium received, and profit and loss. Now exercise price given in the question was rupees 100, and since we had 10 different spot prices, we will note down 100 in 10 different places. So we have 100, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. In 10 different places where we have written down the exercise price of rupees 100. In spot price, we'll note down all these 10 different spot prices which are given to us: 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104 and 105. Now Whenever we are solving sum based on put option seller's payoff, always remember the intrinsic value before the point where your exercise price and spot price are same. Before that, all your intrinsic value will be the negative difference between the exercise and spot price. So here we'll have -4, -3, -2, -1, 0. And after that, all the values of your intrinsic will be 0. Okay, now since you are selling, since you're writing it off, since you're selling, we are going to receive the premium. Since you're receiving, the premium will be positive value. In our case is rupees 3. So you're noting down 3, positive 3 in all the 10 lines. Okay, and profit and loss, the last column that we need to actually find the answer, is nothing but the difference between the intrinsic and the call premium you received. So -4 is my value and I'm receiving 3, so there is a loss of -1. -3 and 3 gives you no profit, no loss. The intrinsic value is -2, but you're receiving 3, so you're earning a profit of ₹1. You're earning a profit of ₹2, and thereafter you're going to earn a stagnant profit of ₹3. So this is how we have to solve sum which is based on put option seller's payoff. Now the same thing we'll represent it on the graphical way. So again, on the y-axis we'll have intrinsic value and profit and loss. We'll start off with 0. Now since the difference between the profit and loss and the intrinsic value is in 1, so we'll take the gap of 1. Similarly, we'll have -1, -4, -5. Now, on our x-axis, we'll have to note down our spot prices. So we have 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105. Now we will start plotting our intrinsic value and our profit and loss on the graphical way. So first we'll note down our intrinsic value. When the spot price was 96, my intrinsic value was -4. At 97, it became -3. Then it became -2. Then it became -1. Then it became 0. And thereafter, it was flat line of zeros. So now here it goes in the upward direction and then it became flat. Similarly, our profit and loss, at 96 it was -1. At 97 it became 0. At 98 we had ₹1 ka profit. At 99 we had ₹2 ka profit. At 100 we had ₹3 ka profit, and thereafter it was again a flat line of profit of ₹3 at 104 and 105. So once we get the plotting, we will join it. So if you join it, you will see that it is an upward curve. Okay, it is an upward curve, and then it flattens and become parallel to each other. Okay, so now here the bottom curve is our IV curve and the top curve is nothing but our profit and loss curve. Okay, so this is how we need to solve the sum based on put option where we have the seller's payoff. Okay, so these are all the practical sum that you need to cover up under this particular paper. Chalo, I hope everyone have understood the entire revision. With that, we'll be ending this video here. Thank you.